Permanent Ink by Maxine on AO3. Chapter 6. They ended up on Kaminari's bed, sitting cross-legged next to each other as Katsuki barked out instruction and explanation. Kaminari noted and scribbled along, moving through each problem way faster than he usually did, and the second he was done, he tossed his textbook to the side and tackled Katsuki, pinning him to the mattress. Okay, back to this, he announced, and then slammed his mouth against Katsuki's and got his tongue between his lips so quickly it made Katsuki's head spin. The fuck? He croaked when he was finally able to break away, desperately in need of air. Now you want to? It's late. It was maybe 9 p.m. Kaminari pouted at him. Just a little, he asked, but Katsuki was already rolling off and scooting to the edge of the mattress. Maybe you should get your damn homework done earlier next time and not leave it for the last minute. Then we'd actually have time for this shit. And that was how that new routine started. It wasn't nightly or anything. Kaminari wasn't the only one. Katsuki had gotten riled into helping him with homework over the past year, and the others still continuously buzzed around like flies and weren't that easy to shake off. Plus, it would be weird if he kept vanishing to hang out with only Kaminari, who could still be annoying as shit, even if Katsuki didn't necessarily mind being wrapped up in him sometimes. But occasionally they'd be down in the common room, Kirishima and Mina would go off on some tangent and end up talking enigmatically with each other, and Katsuki would catch Kaminari's eyes, seeing his slight head jerk towards the stairs, and that would seal his plans for the rest of the night. One time he hung back in Kaminari's room after a round of kicking ass at whatever random fighting game he had just come out, and both Kirishima and Sero had given in-detailed baffled looks when he didn't follow them out, so he tried not to do that too often. And other times, everyone else would be too busy for whatever reason, and Katsuki would find himself sitting close to Kaminari on one of their beds, just the two of them, shoulders pressed together as they went over notes from one of their classes. Then Kaminari's hands would slip under his shirt, fingers stroking his skin above the line of his sweatpants, and that would efficiently distract them for a while until Katsuki could wrestle the other boy's attention back into the submission. Katsuki could maybe see why Deku liked having a girlfriend. Maybe. It was great until other people started getting nosy. Hey, Kirishima said one afternoon when they were in the weight room. He was spotting Katsuki while he used the bench press, hovering over him and looking down onto his face. I need to ask you something. It wasn't often Kirishima felt the need to lead into anything like that. Katsuki wondered why he was hesitant, and then immediately decided this conversation was heading nowhere good. He exhaled as he pushed the barbell to keep his pace steady. What is it? Is something going on between you and Dinky? Katsuki faltered, but Kirishima's hands were there so he didn't accidentally make an attempt at crushing his ribs by dropping the weight. He scowled up at him after a beat, feeling his face flush. Get off, I got it. Kirishima moved his hands, holding them up in an apologetic way. My bad. Are you gonna answer? No, Katsuki grunted after another rap. Going on like what? You tell me, dude. Fuck. Katsuki pushed up at his final time and let the barbell crash down into the rack, then sat up, twisted around, and to glare at his friend. The hell business is it of yours, shitty hair? Kirishima just arched an eyebrow at him. It's my business because I care about both of you, and I'm pretty sure your words have nothing to do with him, so I don't want anyone getting hurt. My words don't decide who I can. He paused, nose scrunching up as he tried to figure out what to say. Do stuff with. Stuff? Kirishima repeated. He let out a snort laugh. Stuff? Shut up, Katsuki snapped, feeling his face burn again. It's not a big deal, alright? Just leave it. Bakugo. Kirishima leaned over the bell rack, folding his arms across the top of it. I'm just checking. You don't need to get all defensive. I'm not. Why don't you ask him if you're so freaking curious? He's not the one with soulmate words on his arm, Kirishima said. He looked down at Katsuki's arm with the scrawled sentence was actually on display for once. The patches usually worked great, but they kind of are annoying when he's working out and sweating all over the place, so he let it off this time. Katsuki shifted, moving his arm out of sight. Yeah, and this is why the whole thing is damn stupid. What, I'm not allowed to... He faltered again. Shit, maybe he actually did need some kind of label for this and Kaminari's whole thing. Do whatever the fuck I want with other people now that I've got this tattooed on me. I'm not saying that, Kirishima looked a little flustered himself, which was about when Katsuki realized that he was dancing around something and he was clearly trying to make a point but seemed unwilling to just outright say it. To be honest, he wasn't sure if Kirishima knew about Deku or not. Katsuki hadn't said anything to him. It was still too embarrassing to actually admit it out loud, but if both Zero and Kaminari had figured it out, then it was a good bet that they'd pass it on. So, interesting tidbit onto Kirishima. He was just the only one who's too polite to say anything about it. If this was the case, then he was probably worried on Kaminari's behalf that Katsuki was going to dump his ass for Deku the second Deku's words showed up. Katsuki groaned, rested his face on his hands, fingers pressed around his temple as he gave Kirishima a look. Listen, he said, dropping his gaze to stare somewhat in the vicinity of Kirishima's right ear, when meeting his eyes became too awkward. I cleared it with him before we even did anything, and what we're doing isn't this fucking serious. It's just for fun, Kirishima provided, and Katsuki's entire body flashed hot with embarrassment. He shot up from the bench, stalking over to where his bag was so he could dig it out of his towel and promptly bury his face into it. I guess, he said loudly, voice stuffled, muffling. He heard Kirishima trail over after him. Because you don't want to date him? Katsuki lowered his towel, glaring at Kirishima over the top of it. Of course not. Oh, come on, Denki's great. He's fine, Katsuki allowed. In small doses, sometimes. You're in his room like every night, dude. Katsuki spluttered. No, sometimes we just do homework. Kirishima gave him a wide grin at that. Sometimes. He repeated himself, and Katsuki had to fight very hard not to throw an explosion in his face. I'm not looking for anything more than whatever the fuck we're doing, he said instantly. And holy shit, he could not believe Kirishima was making him have this kind of stupid ass conversation. This was why he didn't do dating and all the nonsense involved with it. I got better things to do. And a soulmate looking around somewhere? Well, apparently everyone has one of those, Katsuki grumbled. He draped the towel around his neck and picked up his bag. But this is why they're bullshit. People miss out on things because they're too busy waiting on fucking fairy tale. Kirishima hummed a little and slugged his own bag over his shoulder. I get where you're coming from, but isn't it kind of nice to know that there's someone out there who's perfect for you? Not if you're gonna waste your whole life looking for them. Katsuki pushed through the gym doors and onto the warm afternoon. The calendar had just flipped to June, and the weather was finally starting to reflect that. There were students spilling across the various lawns of UA, studying together, chatting. He could see overall all of his own classmates sprawled around the blankets, pointing up in the clouds, drifting slowly through the sky. Across the way, Deku and Naraka were walking along the same path that led to the dorms, their hands swinging together between them. Katsuki hated that his eyes seemed to instantly spot them whenever they were around. He hated that something inside him was abruptly went cold. Some people don't have to look very far, Kirishima said softly beside him. That's why I'm just making sure Denki isn't caught up in the affair situation. Katsuki scowled. Kirishima had no idea how obnoxious Kaminari actually was about the whole Deku thing. He was slowly becoming Katsuki's own personal cheerleader, edging him on, repeatedly saying how he should just tell Deku now and get it over with. Kaminari was a romantic. Maybe that's why he was so okay with being involved with Katsuki right now. Why he somehow wasn't worried about feelings and shit became a problem. Katsuki could appreciate that part of him, at least. It made everything easier, even if it was just because Kaminari believed with his whole damn heart that they had a time limit on them that was set to end on July 15th. He's not. Nothing's gonna happen. This is just running its course and then we'll both move on. Kirishima eyed him. I'm also making sure that you're not using the whole thing as some kind of unhealthy denial strategy. I'm not in denial, Katsuki said sharply, and Kirishima sighed. All right, Bakugo, whatever you say. Something about your makeout buddy saying, "Oh my god, you should definitely tell your soulmate that they're your soulmate." Like, I could just imagine how it went. Just you should tell Midoriya that like you guys are soulmates. Like you should. Like just get it over with. Why are you saying this now as we're locking lips? Because that's the reason why we're kissing? Deku? You know, like we're kissing because you're in denial about Deku. That's not the reason. That is not the reason. The Nile is a river in Egypt. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did that. You know what? I'm gonna keep it in. I'm too tired. I'm gonna keep it in. Am I gonna regret it later? Yes, I will. But that's future Echo's problem, not me. Make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, and have a wonderful day or night. Thank you so much for watching.